love HR. I'm one of those people who
Oh,
used
yeah?
to wake up and say,
Okay.
woohoo, work.
Let me talk to you about my guest today. Her name is Deepa George, and she's been a very, very dear friend. And she runs her own consulting firm known as My HRC Services, Sindra and Berhad. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the conversation with Deepa George. You shared with me your profile when I asked about seeking your services for My HRC services, right? So the many things that you do, let me just highlight over here. You do targeted professional development. You do coaching and training. You advocate mental health in corporates. You are the unofficial therapist, life coach, and stand-up comedian of any group solving problems. No, I wrote this one. You did. So maybe why don't you tell us what My HRC services does?
Okay. So I think when I started this practice, which is coming up to 10 years on January 11th, actually next year, I was in corporate for over 22 years, right, at that stage. And I realized that I love so many things I love HR. I'm one of those people who used to wake up and say, woohoo, work.
So what about HR that you like so much?
People, right? I just love the fact that every day is never the same. While it comes with all its challenges, it's so unique, it's so exciting and so interesting. And my background is in psychology, so maybe that's where it was. But at that time, you had to be, you go further and become actually qualified psychologist back in the day when I started work. So I thought an organizational psychology was just coming up. So I got into that through HR by default, right? And then what I realized, and this is where the turning point is, after my first two jobs in telecommunications and also in banking, I realized there's so much wonderful value from the corporates. But there's good, there's bad, there's ugly.
Like
right?
everything.
And so I decided, what if I make sure that I chart my path, that I can get 3 or 4 different industry experiences, take all the good, remove all the bad and ugly, and go and help SMEs by taking only the good from everywhere.
So
and putting
you
it
had
together.
this in mind even before starting out. That means
yes, that's why I moved to 4 different industries. That's why I did telco, banking, logistics, and pharmaceutical. Because
and then, all right. So because you had this in mind.
I had this in mind. I wanted blue collar, white collar. I wanted technical, non-technical. I wanted unionized, non-unionized.
Right.
And so when that experience, when people say, oh, but you don't understand our industry. And I'm like, but after 4 industries, employee and leaders' issues are the same. Leaders want the best team members want the best bosses. Let's just not complicate matters. And that's it. So my HRC aims to try and bridge that.
Okay.
So how does it help the businesses? It helps the businesses by targeting things like, a lot of things around revamping performance management systems, employee engagement. I love that. I have a passion for let's catch people doing things right.
Great.
Right?
Great.
And so let's look for opportunities for that, where we can really find a way to celebrate employee success. And then, of course, recruitment. I don't do headhunting per se, but to support them with recruitment services, helping them do more new age interviewing skills. And then moving on to the employee side. The people of Malaysia, the SMEs especially, are just craving for learning opportunities. HRDC is a great platform where you can use it to be able to claim. But why not help the people as well? So things like coaching services, mid-management women moving into leadership roles, I have a real passion for that. So trying to help that as well. And then, of course, doing training and facilitation programs. But bottom line, I'm so happy to say that, humbly but confidently to say that I've been able to take best fits from different places into new organizations, because best practice in one may not be a good fit for another.
Right.
So that mixing and matching I've thoroughly enjoyed.
So when did this idea give birth?
I would say probably sort of 6-7 years into my career when I was in banking.
Okay.
And that's when I realized, and I was dealing with a few people when I was interviewing candidates, and I realized, why can't he showcase himself or herself in a better way? They didn't know how to, present themselves in the best light to be a suitable candidate. They have so much more to offer. So I realized that. Then I was just talking to some of the clients, like from the banking perspective, there were customers, and these were some corporates, smaller companies. And they also were saying it's so difficult to motivate our people. So I realized there seems to be this, and to be frank, HR consulting at that time even today, let's be honest, is very much niche for the larger multinational and big branded organizations.
And not for the smaller
So
businesses.
right now, yes, not for smaller because they can't afford it. So I think that I'm hoping to be able to offer these options where, I work with some clients where I'm 20% of my time with them, or I
Okay.
might be only 3 days a month with them because that's all they need. They don't have the ability to pay for a full-fledged HR head. And they don't need it because they have a capable HR team.
Okay.
But what they need is someone to provide certain, high-level guidance or change management. And
I would like to take a moment to talk about our episode sponsor, Giggles. Giggles is actually a cafe that is located at Taman Mega in Petaling Jaya. They have an amazing selection of coffee and a very good place for brunch, for breakfast and for lunch. From nasi lemak goreng ayam berempah to tuna brioche, from pineapple Yakult to a dirty latte, they have everything under the roof that'll make your tummy and taste buds impressed. If you are on the LDP and stuck in traffic, make sure you look up for Giggles because it is just around the corner, and let your tummy be impressed. So what does your average day look like?
So typical day would be planning, and then would be probably 1 or 2 client calls just to see how they're doing in terms of a check-in. Is there anything urgent that needs to be attended? Probably 3 to 5 days a month would be full training days.
Sure.
And then there's coaching interspersed, but it's never a typical day, to be very frank. So it's hard to say that. A typical month is what I just shared. 3 to 5 days of training days, sometimes more.
Okay.
Probably another 4 to 5 days of total of group coaching sessions, not personal, but group coaching. And the remainder would be consulting with the clients.
And when do you think a company, a client, or what is the pain point a client will experience when they realize I need my HRC services?
Okay. So, my HRC, it's me, myself, and I. I'm a solopreneur. So one of the pain points I would say is the most common ones that's happened is cultural areas. You talked about toxicity. Sometimes they come to say, look, you've worked in different organizations. Can you talk to this leader and find out, whether it's almost like a coaching, but they don't want to call it coaching engagement. Help this leader work with their team to transition with the leader one-on-one, and then work with the team. And so we run focus groups. That's another thing I do to find out how to improve that relationship between the boss and the team members. Right? And usually it's commissioned by the head of the company, right? Or the owner or the founder and so on. So that would be one pain point usually if you're talking about culture change or transformation. The other one is when close to year end, like right now, I'm getting really busy with revamping performance management systems for companies. So 2 or 3. One wants to move away from a typical rating scale, and they're moving totally to just annual conversations, and there is no longer going to be a numerical rating assigned to the individuals. They're changing that, and that's really refreshing to see. We'll let you know how that goes, but for now it's a work in progress. So performance management. And the third one, recently there's been a big uptake on the new generation. How do we do interviews with them? They ask us tough questions at interviews. So even speaking around those things, those would be the 3 most common pain points recently.
Is it right for me to say that this is not necessarily a conventional career path somebody would have taken, correct?
Yes.
Because it's consulting, it's HR, it's solopreneur, like you called it, right? So if somebody wants to go down this path, what are the few questions he needs to ask himself or herself before he decides, yes, this is what I want to do?
Okay. First thing is, which I went through, is are you willing to deal with the identity crisis of realizing you are on your own? And I mean that because in the past I could say, hi, I'm Deepa George, I'm HR director here. Hi, I'm Deepa George, I'm Southeast Asia head here, whatever, right? And that sounded really interesting. And I was like, wonderful. Suddenly you have to let all that go. And I'm Deepa George, and I run my own little consulting firm, and I went through this huge identity crisis. So one is get over that. We need to be able to realize that you cannot hide behind the global multinational names anymore. Secondly would be, are you willing to define success on your own terms? Because some people may see this and say that, but you're not successful, Deepa. You're just a solopreneur. I don't see myself as just a solopreneur. I'm proud to be a solopreneur.
Very
and
nice. Beautiful.
My success is defined by that I have 2 half days off a week, right? By choice. But if I want to, I can up that, I guess, of course I have to go out. And the third thing is also the success defined for me is I am very, again, blessed the fact that I've got many referrals. And so I think the fact that I have repeat clients and that's part of the reason I don't have the website because, I'm really thankful that I haven't needed to.
Sure.
So I think be ready to make sure that your brand is your personality, your work is going to be your brand, be willing to work hard for it.
Yep.
Don't shortchange yourself, but just find your niche and work in that. That would be something that...
So a lot of people always say things like, you need a digital address, you need a corporate website. Otherwise, how are people going to find you? How are they going to know what you do? But you just said that, most of your work comes from referrals and from one company to another. They see you work and then they just refer you to another. That's really great. I think it's a testament to the work that you do because so good that a website is not really needed, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but like I said, my definition of success also has changed at this stage in life. So I'm not, it's different really. People need to be comfortable with who they are and what they are looking for the future.
If someone thinks that this is a calling he has or she has to do consulting in HR, is that what you would call this?
Yeah.
Consulting in HR. Someone thinks that I think this is something I would like to do. I think this is my calling. What are the few things he needs to ask himself or herself to get to this confirmation?
Okay, for this role in particular, one is you need to find, do you have enough experience already in whether it's corporates, when other organizations, because this is a very high experience-based industry.
Okay.
So I think one of the reasons when I go in and I speak to some of the potential clients or existing clients is that when they say, have you done this? And maybe I say no, but I'm able to simulate or correlate different examples because I haven't been in that industry. But like I said, we're talking about people issues.
Yeah.
So chances are one way or the other, that type of a people issue we would have had addressed.
Okay.
So whoever's going to start cannot start maybe with just 5 years experience. Or you can, but I think it makes sense to wait till you've got enough sort of salt in this area before you start. That's one.
Okay.
Number 2 is try and get multi-industry. See, because I did not want to be a HR practitioner in a singular industry. I wanted to be a HR practitioner. And therefore, I have 4 industries, like I said, blue collar, white collar, union, non-union. And that helps a lot as well because then I've seen both the employee and the employer angle from different perspectives. So multi-industry. And last but not least is check on whether if you're not sure whether this is the path for you, try and see whether you can do again a micro certification. Even for me, I did psychology, but then I did a certificate in HR management.
Oh, okay.
And that helped to anchor my interest in HR before I decided HR is for me. Like, what is this about? I've only done recruitment. I've done a bit of training. So it's just a 9-month program. It really cemented my interest in Malaysia. Yeah,
right.
Those days it was called MIPM. Today it's called MIHRM. And you can get that sort of a program which will really help you understand, is this journey worth it?
Is it?
Absolutely.
If you think Deepa George could be of value to you in the area of training, talent management, leadership, or coaching, be sure to look her up on LinkedIn and see how she could be of value to your business. I'm Josh G, and this has been Unfiltered Business, where we talk about the real side of work without the corporate filter.